If you're over 40 and you want to have more energy, better mental clarity, if you want to burn off excess body fat and have better libido, you need to eat these 10 foods. And unfortunately, most doctors and nutritionists won't tell you about the benefits of these foods, and instead, they're going to often point you towards heart-healthy, low-fat processed foods. Now, these foods are the most important and most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. And if you eat these 10 foods, you're gonna get the vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, protein, and healthy fats to build a strong body and mind and help you thrive in life. Now, before I get to these 10 foods, I wanna quickly review the foods you absolutely must avoid. If you eat these foods, they're gonna make you weak, fat, and sluggish and age you faster. The first one is processed sugars and starches. You see, when we eat processed sugars and starches, it drives up our blood sugar and our insulin levels. And when blood sugar goes up and insulin goes up, that actually causes us not to be able to burn fat for fuel. So we start storing fat. And as long as insulin is elevated in our bloodstream, we're gonna actually start creating visceral fat, which is the dangerous fat that surrounds all of our vital organs, our liver, our heart, all of our major organ systems, and actually chokes blood supply from going to those vital organs. So those organs actually start to get sick and start to die. So we've got to avoid our processed sugar and starches. We also want to avoid seed oils. That's going to be things like corn oil, soybean oil, safflower, cottonseed, peanut oil. These seed oils actually poison our cell membranes and our mitochondria and cause us to not be able to produce cellular energy, not to be able to burn fat for fuel, and have poor hormone signaling. So they damage our hormones and our cellular energy production. We got to avoid those seed oils. We also want to avoid processed foods that are high in chemicals. So whenever we're consuming highly processed foods, that's going to be all the things in the middle aisles of, when you go through a grocery store, pretty much all that is processed. So your cereals, your chips, your pretzels, your cookies, your chocolate bars, like all different types of things like that, all highly processed. Those things are high in chemicals. So they've got additives, preservatives, pesticides, herbicides, all different types of chemicals, artificial sweeteners that are damaging to your mitochondria, cause you not to be able to burn fat for fuel, cause you to have lower cellular energy, and they throw off your hormones, your progesterone, your estrogen, your testosterone levels. So really important that we're avoiding those foods. In fact, for men, when you're consuming foods that are high in chemicals, seed oils, and processed sugar and starches, it actually increases something called aromatase. This is an enzyme that takes testosterone and converts it into estrogen in a man's body. And that can lead to andropause, and it can lead to men developing, for example, man boobs and extra breast tissue, having lower libido, erectile dysfunction, a whole lot of different issues like that. So really important. For women, it causes estrogen dominance when they're consuming foods like this, which is gonna affect their libido, causing low libido. It's gonna cause unwanted hormonal issues, unwanted weight gain, fatigue. It's gonna cause hypothyroidism when you have excess estrogen, liver dysfunction, a whole number of different problems. So we've got to avoid those foods. Now, what do we eat instead? Here are the foods. Number one is gonna be grass-fed red meat. So grass-fed beef, lamb, and bison. When cows are able to eat grass, they produce high amounts of conjugated linoleic acid. CLA has been shown to improve your metabolic rate, helping you burn fat for fuel, also supports your immune system, and actually is anti-carcinogenic, so it actually reduces your risk of developing cancer. So CLA is super powerful. Also in grass-fed beef, you have things like carnitine, which actually helps shuttle fatty acids into the mitochondria where they can be used for basically for energy production. So it helps you burn fat more effectively and improve mitochondrial function. Also, there's a compound in grass-fed red meat called carnosine. Carnosine prevents oxidation of muscle tissue. So it actually protects the muscle tissue from dangerous free radicals. So it helps you have stronger, healthier muscle tissue that recovers better from exercise. On top of that, it's tons of nutrients in there. You've got B vitamins like vitamin B12, vitamin B6 in grass-fed beef. You've got zinc in there, high doses of zinc. Most people are deficient in zinc. Zinc is critical for estrogen, progesterone, thyroid function, for testosterone. We need good adequate amounts of zinc. Grass-fed animal products, one of the best sources of zinc as well. And on top of that, you've got really good quality protein that helps stabilize your blood sugar. It helps provide amino acids for good muscle tissue, good bone tissue, helps you burn fat more effectively for fuel. So definitely start loading up on your grass-fed red meat. Also, extra virgin olive oil, high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil, so good for your body, rich in oleocanthols. Oleocanthal they call nature's ibuprofen because it's so good at regulating inflammation in the body. There's also vitamin E, monounsaturated fats in extra virgin olive oil that are great for your heart and help protect the endothelial lining of your blood vessels. There's also a polyphenol called hydroxytyrosol that helps your brain. It actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, helps reduce oxidative stress in the brain, keeping your brain alive and well and preventing against brain degeneration, which leads to things like dementia and Alzheimer's. So grass-fed beef, extra virgin olive oil. Before I go into the third food, I want to remind you, if for some reason you're consuming these foods and you just don't feel good on one of those foods, then avoid it. If you don't feel good with it, avoid it. There's going to be 9 other great foods that you can consume. So everybody's unique. And although these foods are really powerful for your body, they're so nutrient dense, if you don't feel good personally eating that food, you may have a unique individual food sensitivity or food allergy to that particular food, and it would be best for you to avoid it or at least reduce your consumption of it. Meanwhile, it can be really good for 99% of the population. So grass-fed beef, extra virgin olive oil, that's where we started. Number 3 is wild-caught salmon and seafood. Wild-caught salmon is extremely rich in omega-3 fatty acids, as well as something called astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is what gives salmon their pink color. They get it from eating red algae, right, as well as krill. And so when they're eating that red algae is rich in astaxanthin, so is the krill. And they get this astaxanthin, which is a really powerful antioxidant, 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C. And you think about a salmon, they're able to swim upstream against the rapids and jump literally up to 10 feet out of the water. What gives it that super strength, that super ability to produce mitochondrial energy? Well, it's the combination of omega-3s as well as astaxanthin, keeping that mitochondria humming and producing tremendous amounts of energy. When we consume that wild-caught sockeye salmon, we're going to confer those benefits. We're going to get the omega-3s, we're going to get the astaxanthin, we're going to have better cellular energy production. So wild-caught salmon, super good for your body. Pasture-raised eggs. I call eggs nature's multivitamin. Why? Because eggs are rich in tons of different nutrients. They have things like choline, which is great for the brain, phosphatidylserine, and phospholipids in general that make up a healthy cell membrane. You also have B vitamins in eggs. You have fat-soluble vitamin A, retinol, very rich source in eggs. That's so important for vision, right? For good brain function as well as good eye health and vision in general. You also have things like zinc, for example, that are in pasture-raised eggs that are also really good, and healthy fats, conjugated linoleic acid that's in the pasture-raised eggs, as well as healthy saturated fats that are great for metabolism. If you're concerned about pasture-raised eggs raising your cholesterol, I'll put that concern to bed. It actually helps raise your HDL cholesterol, which is your good cholesterol, and lowers your triglycerides, which is kind of these fat compounds that are circulating in your bloodstream. You want your body to be very good at taking fat out of the bloodstream and putting it into the cells where it can be used for energy. Pasture-raised eggs balance your blood sugar and lower your insulin levels. When your insulin goes down, your triglycerides go down, your HDL goes up. I don't worry about LDL cholesterol. I look at the triglyceride to HDL ratio. Triglycerides should be low, under 100. HDL should be up over 50. Overall, that ratio of triglyceride to HDL should always be under 2, and ideally as close to 1-to-1 as possible, meaning 1 part triglyceride to 1 part HDL. That tells me you're in good metabolic health. Pasture-raised eggs, because they're a rich source of antioxidants as well as good protein that stabilizes your blood sugar and so many other powerful nutrients, they're really good for your lipids, right? Really good for your blood vessels in general and clearing out arterial plaque. They also have vitamin K2, which actually works with vitamin D to help break down arterial plaque and remove the calcium and put it into the bones where it can be used to develop strong, healthy bones. So let's consume pasture-raised eggs. Unless you have an allergy or a sensitivity to them, they're a great source of your diet. The next thing you want to consume is apple cider vinegar. Why is it so important for somebody over 40 to be consuming apple cider vinegar? Because apple cider vinegar has been shown in studies to help stabilize your blood sugar and your insulin levels. Apple cider vinegar, just taking 1 tablespoon and putting it in about 4 ounces of water before your meal. You can also put it on your food, right? So you can actually add it to meat, which will break down the meat. The acid will start to digest the meat. It will also help improve blood sugar when you put it on meat and vegetables. But just taking 1 tablespoon in 4 ounces of water provides a therapeutic dose of this postbiotic compound called acetic acid, which is created in the apple cider vinegar through fermentation. The bacteria break down the apple and they produce acetic acid. That acetic acid feeds the mitochondria and makes the mitochondria in your gut stronger, which makes the intestinal lining stronger. And that helps to reduce inflammation, helps stabilize blood sugar, helps improve blood pressure as well. So it helps overall circulatory health in your body as well, helps lower triglycerides. So you get all these amazing benefits from apple cider vinegar. Take 1 tablespoon with each meal. That's going to give you a therapeutic dose. Avocado, right? So you want to make sure you're consuming avocado on a regular basis. I recommend consuming at least a half avocado a day. Avocados are rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, these powerful carotenoid antioxidants that are so good for your body. Also a rich source of monounsaturated fats that have great resilience, right, to oxidation. So they provide healthy fat source that helps stabilize your blood sugar. That's not a fragile fat. They also have a type of sugar compound, heptylomannulose sugar, that's actually really good for stimulating collagen production in your skin. Some of the people with the best skin as they age that I've seen are people who regularly consume avocado. Why? Because of this heptylomannulose sugar compound that helps with collagen production and also the benefits of vitamin E, the carotenoids that are in the avocado, the monounsaturated fat, all that helps reduce oxidative stress on the skin. So avocado is really good. Also, I'm a big fan of arugula, which is this great green leafy vegetable that is high in nutrients but low in oxalates. Oxalates are these plant compounds, plant defense compounds that can create inflammation in our body. The oxalates are high in spinach, right? And they're high in things like beets and raspberries and chocolate and nuts in general, okay? And so we want to do what we can to reduce the amount of oxalates. You don't have to avoid them altogether, but don't consume a whole lot of high oxalate foods. You'll probably feel better doing that. So arugula is low oxalate but high in nutrients. And so we want to use the arugula. I'm also a big fan of celery. Celery is a great food to consume. It's really rich in trace minerals, good structured water that's in there. I'm also a big fan of cucumbers as well, a lot of structured water that helps get right into our cells and deeply hydrate our cells. We get this kind of structured or 4th phase of water from natural fruits and vegetables. And celery, cucumbers are great sources of that. Apples, oranges, things like that, great sources of structured water. I'm also a big fan of berries and pomegranate. So berries are rich in anthocyanin, antioxidants, and resveratrol. Pomegranate's very rich in ellagic acid, which gives it kind of its astringency, or kind of like almost like a little bit of tartness to it. And also it's very rich in anthocyanins as well. These things are great for your microbiome, they're great for your liver, and they help to strengthen the intestinal cell lining, which reduces inflammation throughout your body as well. Also, grass-fed butter, or really any sort of organic and ideally grass-fed dairy products. So butter is going to be really rich in conjugated and linoleic acid. We talked about the benefits of that earlier when we were talking about grass-fed beef. Butter also has fat-soluble vitamin A. It also has something called fatty 15, which is this type of fatty acid that actually helps to remove linoleic acid, which is what we get from seed oils. It removes it from our cell membranes and from our mitochondrial membranes. And we talked about how seed oils drive up oxidative stress because they poison the cell membrane and they poison the mitochondria. One way to get the seed oils out of our cell membrane and mitochondria is consuming something like grass-fed butter or grass-fed dairy fat in general, because it's got that fatty 15, which helps to remove the linoleic acid from the cell membrane and from the mitochondria, and reduces the overall amount of lipid peroxidases that are formed from inflammation and from oxidative stress due to the linoleic acid. So butter can be really helpful. Also organic Greek yogurt, which is a great protein source, also healthy fats in there, as well as organic cottage cheese and organic cheddar cheese can all be really good sources. Great foods, high quality protein, different nutrients in there, as well as that fatty 15 that we were talking about. So those are gonna be the best foods that you wanna focus on. I recommend a diet high in protein, getting 30 to 50 grams or more of healthy protein as well as healthy fats in your diet. So getting at least 15 to 20 grams of healthy fat in each meal. That's gonna be coming from your grass-fed organic animal products. It also can come from high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil, as well as avocado or coconut oil is another good fat source that you can utilize. So you're getting your fats, and then lots of colorful fruits and vegetables. Ideally, most of those things being lower oxalate fruits and vegetables. But for some people, they do great on oxalates in general. Colorful fruits and vegetables, though, can be really helpful part of your diet. So getting colorful fruits and vegetables, getting herbs like basil, oregano, thyme, sage, ginger, turmeric in your diet, those can all be really helpful as well. So those are the foods that you want to focus on for healthy hormone function, great energy, for great mental function, great fat burning, and good skin aging. Please share this with anybody you know that's over 40. They need to be focusing on these foods and avoiding the foods I talked about early on in this video in order to age well, in order to thrive as they continue to go on through perimenopause, menopause, through a male that's aging, to have your optimal physique, optimal mental, physical, and emotional energy. These are the foods you want to focus on. Please share this with anybody that you know and that you care about, and we'll see you in a future video. Be blessed.